Hello, Math 4 Honors students. This is your hints for Unit 3. I'm going to take you on a tour of all of these wonderful, magical math problems. We're going to start with Lesson 1. Problem number 30 can be found on page 205. And it's talking about the useful patterns for quadratic expressions when they can be written as x minus a, x plus a, when it's what we call a difference of squares, x squared minus a squared. So you know that pattern. But did you know that x to any power minus a to the same power can be factored with x minus a as one of those factors also? So it says explain why x minus a is always a factor of that expression. And I'm not going to give you that answer, but I want you to think about it. My hint to you is, say that I had some function that was in factored form, and x minus 2 was a factor, and it was multiplied by some other thing here. What does that tell me about the 2, and how does that being a factor connect to the roots of your function, or the zeros of your function? So that's your hint on that one. Now we're going to talk about part B. So looking at part B, it's asking you to use long division to find that factor of x to the third minus 27. Well, hopefully you notice that x to the third minus 27 can actually be written x to the third minus 3 to the third. So this follows that pattern of x to the n minus a to the n. So it's going to start showing a pattern, and it wants to know why x minus 3 is a factor of that, and then this q stands for quotient. So I'm going to do a little bit of this, but not all of it for you. So I go to do this long division. Notice I put these extra terms in here. Those terms need to be in there to do your long division, or you won't be able to do it correctly. So the first thing I do is look at my x and see, what do I multiply times that x to get x to the third? And the answer, of course, is x squared. So now I go x squared times x will give me x to the third. Then x squared times negative 3, or minus 3, will give me minus 3x squared. Next step is I'm going to subtract this, but when I subtract it, you're really distributing that minus sign so that the x to the third becomes a minus and the 3x squared becomes a plus, because it's minus a negative. So the x to the thirds will cancel, which is what you wanted, and 0x squared plus 3x squared is 3x squared. Then I'm going to bring down the next value and continue that process. I'm not going to finish it for you. You can finish it. I have faith in you. Now what ends up happening is you get the quotient up top here. So if you did it correctly, you should have a factor of x minus 3 times whatever that quotient is. Should go there. And if you did it right, if I multiply these all out, so whatever this is times whatever's in there, and distribute that as well, it should end up being x to the third minus 27 if you did it correctly. Now, the rest of the problems, C and D and on, you should be able to do on your own, and you're looking for that pattern to see how you can put an expression x to the n minus a to the n. All right, have fun mathing.